Welcome once again to Lehto's Law. Here's Steve Lehto.
Fred sent me a story from Torque News, and this is the kind of thing that makes you wonder. But you got to be careful buying anything off the internet these days, and Facebook Marketplace in particular is just take the worst aspects of eBay and the internet and I don't know, other oddball things and flea markets and run them through a blender and then throw it up against the wall. And that's what you got with Facebook Marketplace. So the story here is written by Dennis Flero. I flew to Houston to buy a Ford F-150. It was an elaborate Facebook Marketplace scam, says the sheriff's office. And now I'm out thousands of dollars and the truck. So here's the deal. Of course, a lot of people buy and sell stuff on Facebook Marketplace. The author of this article sold his Outback on the website. And he says it's also a breeding ground for scams to take unsuspecting buyers' money. And so I am always very, very skeptical of getting involved in strangers buying things off the internet. I bought stuff off eBay in the past, but every time I get involved with that, I'm always like, I wonder if I'll ever see the product I'm trying to buy here. So this guy here flew from Denver, Colorado to Houston, Texas to get a great deal on a Ford pickup truck. So he paid for the truck with cash and drove home to Eagle County, Colorado, where he then found out the truck was stolen. A report from 11 News in Colorado Springs says the Eagle County Sheriff's Office says that buyers need to be aware. And here's what happened. It was an elaborate Facebook Marketplace vehicle scam. And there is some elaborate nature to this. The scam involved a stolen truck, forged documents, a cloned tracking device, and it goes like this. According to the sheriff's office, trouble started when the guy saw an ad for a pickup on Marketplace. The victim told them that he flew to Houston to make the purchase. He met with a real person, exchanged documents. The documents looked legitimate. He paid cash for the truck. The seller only had one key fob and said he'd lost the other. But that was the only thing that really happened that caught his attention. There were no red flags. 11 News reports that despite the truck's missing key fob, transaction went off seamlessly, and the victim drove the truck from Houston back to Colorado, not sensing that anything was wrong until he went to register the vehicle. And the buyer was shocked to discover that there was something suspicious about the title. They suggested that he get an inspection by a certified VIN inspector at the Eagle County Sheriff's Office. So here's the quote from the Sheriff's Office. The initial inspection revealed the VIN on the title matched all of the VIN information on the vehicle, inside the doors, on the dash, and even under the hood. The name on the title came back to a real person, and the license plates matched. However, on closer inspection, our detective discovered the title had been washed. The scammers had illegally removed information from the car title and altered it. They also discovered the license plates had been cloned, which means they were replicated from a legitimately owned car, but used on a stolen car. The Facebook Marketplace scammers aren't done, however. The scam takes a twisted turn. The scammers had put a tracking device on the truck, apparently intending to follow up on where the truck went and stealing it back and selling it again. The tracking device was attached to the truck underneath the frame, and they would do that. So with scams like this, the crooks steal the truck, forge the paperwork, sell it, then use a tracking device to come get the vehicle, steal it with their second key, and resell it. The Eagle County Sheriff's Office learned from law enforcement in Houston that the vehicle was stolen in late November. Insurance payments had already been made to the original owner, so the truck will now be retrieved by the insurance company. It's a double whammy, the buyer says. I'm out thousands of dollars, and I don't have a truck. The Sheriff's Office warns anyone against using Facebook Marketplace or similar sites without being extremely cautious. Extremely cautious. The Eagle County Sheriff's Office warns car and truck buyers, if you see a deal online that's too good to be true, trust your instincts, especially if it might be listed below market value. Do not use cash, they say. Utilize guaranteed funds like certified checks or a payment method that offers fraud protection. So in addition to checking the car's title, Consumer Reports suggests getting a vehicle history report, having the car inspected by a trusted mechanic, and being cautious of deals that seem too good to be true. Now, they keep saying that, but I don't know what the guy paid for the truck. And so the implication here is that this deal was really, really good, but I don't know exactly how good it was. So other people say that buying and selling used vehicles can be stressful. There's a lot of money at stake, and the last thing you want to do is get scammed. Take the time to inspect a used vehicle's title for signs of fraud or tampering. Check the VIN online and try to meet the seller at the DMV to make sure everything is above board. And so here's the thing. The guy bought the truck in Texas and brought it back to Colorado intending to title it there. With a bit of extra due diligence, you can be sure the great deal you found really is worth it. But the thing is, I will admit, since I've been buying and selling and owning cars, I bought my first car when I was 17 years old. That's the last car, I think, it's the last car I bought from a stranger. And it is. It's the last car I bought from a stranger. Where there were any possibilities of something going wrong like this. Meaning that I didn't know the person, but they were actually a friend of a friend. So a very good friend of mine said, hey, I know a guy who's selling 1969 Dodge Charger for $300. And I bought that car. It was the first car I ever bought and the first car I ever owned. And I had that car, and I paid $300 for it. And I went to the guy's house, met the guy who owned it. Like I said, my friend knew his family. And we went to the Secretary of State's office in Michigan and transferred the title right then and there. And I had title in hand when I drove it home. Ever since then, every vehicle I've ever bought, I've either bought from a dealership, a broker, or somebody I knew, or some kind of establishment that I felt was safe to deal with. And what I'm getting at here is that I've known people who have found a car on Facebook Marketplace or on eBay or on some other website on the internet. They look at photographs of the car, they read the description, they go, oh, that sounds like a good car. And then they agree to buy it, and then they do something like they wire their money to another state and go, ship me the car. And I'm like, wait a second, you didn't even test drive the car? How do you know that the car is going to show up at all? How do you know it's going to run? How do you know anything about it? And, all I'm saying is there's going to be people in the comment section right now saying, but Steve, I've done it. It worked out. Yeah, it very well could work out. And then every now and then you hear a story like this where it didn't work out. And ask yourself what steps you're taking to make sure that it works out. And so this guy with an elaborate scam like this where the title looked so good that everybody who looked at it said, yeah, the title looks good. Until they realize, oh, there's something wrong with the title. And the VINs, the vehicle identification numbers that are on that vehicle, most people only check the one that's the base of the A-pillar on, in essence, the dashboard. That's the one you can see through the windshield, right? And it says that they looked at the one on the door jamb, they looked at the one under the hood. It's also stamped elsewhere on that vehicle. And chances are, if they've cloned it, it's not going to match all the VINs. However, it depends on what kind of work they did. Or if this is simply a stolen vehicle, then they created a fake title for it. It might be that all the VINs match this title, but the title's got the wrong name on it because the vehicle was stolen and they got a fake title for it. So it's a mess. The guy's out his money, and by handing cash to somebody, he can't even track where the money went. Now, some people are going to say, but Steve, let's suppose you use certified funds. Well, presumably, if you had a certified funds in the form of a check and you made it out to somebody, at least you'd have their name. Otherwise, how would they cash those certified funds? And so that's the thing. And I have lots of people who tell me, they go, Steve, you buy new cars from dealerships from time to time. I do. Or, I bought a couple cars through a broker. Both my Viper and my Cobra were dealt with that way. My good friend at Nostalgic Motoring there, Mark Lieberman, found me those cars. And one of the reasons I like dealing with a professional on something like that is this stuff doesn't happen. So let someone else deal with it. But I feel really sorry for the guy. But I've heard so many stories about Facebook Marketplace and so many stories about things that are put there that are fake or that are somehow wrong or somebody's trying to rip somebody off. And it's simply that the barrier to entry is so low. Anybody can post anything on the internet, and next thing you know, you're looking at a car in, 3 states away going, what a deal. What a deal. It's not that good of a deal if it turns out to be something you don't get to keep after you spend all that money. So we never did find out how much money the guy paid for the truck, but they made it sound like it was too good to be true. And that, of course, is the ultimate warning flag. When somebody's selling something on the internet for a price that's too good to be true, because they don't need to do that. If they have a global reach like the internet does, you don't need to have a fire sale for it, unless, of course, there's something else wrong with it. So, Fred, thanks for sending that. It's something we can all learn from, if nothing else. From Torque News and Dennis Fleury, the man flew to Houston to buy a Ford F-150 in an elaborate Facebook marketplace scam, and now he's out all that money and he has not got the truck. Questions or comments, put them below. Let's talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Thank you for watching Lehto's Law. A man can succeed at almost anything for which he has unlimited enthusiasm.